Good evening, everyone. My name is Victor, and I'm going to try to help you out with SQL Server classes. I hope that this tutorial is going to be helpful for you. Well, first of all, SQL is one of the most powerful database engine that you can find in the market. If you know SQL Server, you can also be working probably with Oracle as well. So, to know one of the most powerful database that you can find and to know how to deal with that on a regular basis, besides working with more basic databases, it's gonna give you an advantage in the professional IT world. So let's cut to the chase, and hopefully this tutorial is gonna be helpful for you. SQL, as I said before, is very useful, and you're gonna, what for some people think that is very hard to understand, well, we'll try to make as easy and with more details as we can, so it's not gonna be so hard for you. Well, let's begin right away. This is our blog, in case that you want to follow us and you want to comment about anything that goes on with SQL. You can share your thoughts, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. My name is Victor, and we're gonna try to do this at once. We're going over here, first of all, to the Windows logo, all programs, and over here we're gonna look for SQL Server 2012. I have 2008, as you can see over here, but I rather to be working in 2012 than is the latest version. Over here, as soon as I press SQL Server 2012, you're gonna see the Management Studio. A lot of people confuse Management Studio with SQL. There's a small difference between SQL Server 2012 and Management Studio. This is the database, and SQL Server is the tool that we use to connect to the SQL Server to the database as well. So it's gonna be our GUI, our graphic interface, so everything's gonna be a little bit easier for us. Let's start working out. Now it's loading. Over here, hopefully that you follow the directions on the chart one on the block. This over here is, you're gonna choose this option over here, the database engine. Over here I use my personal computer. If you are working in a professional server environment, probably the place that you're gonna be choosing is gonna be 127.0.0.1. that is the same thing as your loopback address, and that is the same thing as your local computer most of the time, unless that you are driving to a different IP address and your computer will be located in such a complete different places. Over here you're gonna choose, because I installed this server on my Windows 7, I rather to use my window authentication. In case that you are working on a computer that have a lot of different users of a professional server environment, I suggest that you go over here and go to SQL Server Authentication, and you're gonna pop up a username and the password that you're gonna be using. In my case, so because I don't want a lot of times to be loading all that information into the server, because usually servers take a little bit longer to load, I went directly over here. I turn on my machine, my Windows 7 machine, and everything start popping up over here, and I can have all the information right away. For me, it's easier, but the situation can vary from one to one. So let's try to connect this at once. Now we see over here that all the nice stuff that SQL Server Management Studio can do. Over here you see my database, with my own name, Victor, of course. I'm gonna open up this part over here, the databases, and I'm gonna expand this place over here, system database, master model ASDB and 10DB. That's the system database that belongs to the machine. That's the programs that the machine used to run itself. And these are my three personal the user databases that I can be using. This fourth one over here, AdventureWorks, I suggest that you're gonna be checking on that a little bit later and you download it. because it contains a lot of very important information, and you can be playing with a very extensive database. Let me show you very quick what I'm talking about. If I come over here, for example, to tables, and I choose one randomly, it's gonna give me a lot of different options about a random database, and it's gonna be very helpful for you in case that you wanna be playing with this in a future. So let me try to get a little bit more information about it. Over here you're gonna see how it works and all the information, all the columns over here that they have in this database, in case that you want to be playing with large number, instead that you're gonna be input all the information one by one. You can really be enjoying what you're gonna be doing in a close future. But I don't want to jump in this part right now. Let me go back over here and let me close this stuff, and let me close this as well, because right now we don't need this stuff. So at least you have an idea of how large a database can be, especially this one, AdventureWorks 2012, especially when you are working in a large environment where you have a lot of information for a lot of different people, accounting, payroll, or whatever, human resources, and you need very large amount of information for a lot of different people. There are two different ways that you can do your stuff over here: graphically or doing a query over here. But most of all, let me start doing something over here so you're gonna see what I'm doing. In case then in the future you close this part over here, or the Explorer, you come over here and you can retrieve as you can see, or you can place F8 and everything's gonna pop up as well. So to create a database right now that's gonna be our main goal right now, we come over here, database, right click, new database, and we're gonna name our new database test 1. Nice, right? And you could see the database over here right away when it's created. So let's go over here, let's click over here, and let's go to properties. As soon as you go to properties, you go into files. In files, we're gonna see two very interesting stuff over here. Immediately there are two different things that are created. One is the N. When you create any database, you are creating an NDF and LDF. One is a master data file and the one is a log data file. Let me open it over here. The master data file over here is gonna be the one that we are gonna use, and it's gonna contain the most of the information that we use. It's gonna be our database, but the log is gonna achieve all the transactions. This is gonna be our primary one, and we're gonna explain that a little bit later. So we're gonna move this bar over here. We're gonna click over here. We're gonna copy, Control C, and we're going back to over here. And as soon as we do over here, we're gonna paste it. And we go over here, we are gonna see a lot of different stuff. For example, for test 1, we're gonna see that two different files are created as I said before, NDF and LDF. Master data file and log data file. As I said before, one is the master one, and the other one is gonna be the log one, in case that we're gonna need to back up some information, retrieve some information. That information over here is gonna be useful. Let's close this. So we know how to do this. Then basically we go to database and we create a new database, but that is the graphic way. But we can do a query as well. So let's try to do that as well. New query, and over here, well, we can move this part over here whatever we want. And we're not gonna do it over here, create database test 2. And over here now we're gonna shadow them and we're gonna execute it. As you could see over here, it was successfully executed. But in this part over here is not applied. Why not? Because we need to refresh our database. We come over here, right click, refresh, and as soon as we do this, we could see that we have test number 2 created in our database. Now that we are in our database, we're gonna try to alter that information. So let's do that over here. Alter database test 2, modify name equal test 3. Now we're gonna shadow it and we're gonna execute it. Over here we still see test number 2. How come? Well, the answer is simple, because we need to do the same thing. We need to refresh it. Let me move this a little bit over here. And when we click refresh, we see that it's created over here. Interesting, isn't it? Somehow we can find as well another way to do the same stuff, the same process. And let me show you this over here so you're gonna have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Over here you can use this alternative way to do the same alter of the database. You're gonna use execute sp rename db old database name, in that case will be test2, and you test 3, and we're gonna put the new database name over here. So let's work it out. As you could see, this name started loading itself. So over here we're gonna call, instead of the test 3, we're gonna call test 4, and let's try to execute it. And the message is the method name test 4 has been set. I made a mistake over here in this part over here. It need to be just exactly like it was before. So now we come over here, database, we're gonna refresh it, and we see test 4 created over here. Interesting, isn't it? Now we saw how to alter this kind of database. For example, we want to rename this. To rename this, I want to make it test file, and that's it. But what happens? That's when you want to do this in a graphical mode. But in case that you want to do this with a query, we can do that in another different way. Let me show you. We can follow this stuff. Drop database you want to drop. So let's follow this example. If we go over here, drop database, and in this case what will be test 5. We're gonna try to execute this stuff. Command completed successfully. That's excellent. So let's check it out. It's not over here no more. Excellent. But what happens when you are working in this kind of environment? Let me show you. You're working over here, and several people are using the same database. For example, you got several people, you are working in a large company and there are a lot of people using the same database, and you want to drop it. What will happen? Let me show you. If you want to drop a database because somebody else is working on it, you're gonna get this error message. New database name. Cannot drop this database because this database is currently in use. But you don't know who in the company is working on database, or maybe it's useless, or maybe somebody left the earlier and left the machine on. So you can use this command to delete the database with a rollback, as you can read over here. With rollback immediate option, will roll back all incomplete transactions and close the connection to the database. Remember, system database cannot be dropped. Remember as well that we have system. These are the system database, as I said before, and these are the user database. With this part, I completed chapter 2, and hopefully you have enjoyed this as much as I did. Have an excellent rest of the day. Bye.